Just when you thought you knew who the Hulk was, we come out with the Immortal Hulk. Let's dive in and see what's up. I'm Stan, and this is Detail Comics. What's up, everybody? This is an I Review, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The book that I want to talk about right now is The Immortal Hulk #1. This is a book that's been set up for the last several weeks, months even. When we saw the character in Avengers No Surrender, we saw a very different version of the Hulk compared to what we've seen before, and now Bruce Banner's out in the wild, and so is the Hulk. So let's see what Al Ewing's got in store for us, and how twisted and dark it can get. After the events of Avengers No Surrender, we knew we were getting a darker version of the Hulk. And what we get in Immortal Hulk is more of that times 10, set in a much more tense, horror-based setting. We open up with an individual looking out at a Roxxon station, and you see desperation. You see a hand on a gun as he stares through the window. He's about to make a decision that he might regret forever. And then there's also the other people that are around here. You've got this young girl that's headed into the gas station. You've got a man that looks oddly familiar standing there perusing the magazines, while the cashier is just distracted by everything else in the world. The setup is simple. The entire story takes place visually throughout the panels. You've got the man looking over his left shoulder, the girl noticing and seeing how creepy he is, but then the final key is that you see that the Hulk, the monster, is alive and sighted. That's just before this person that was holding the gun, this gentleman that seems desperate, walks into the door and starts looking at the cashier. But it's too late at that point in time. The gun has been pulled. It's been shoved into the face of the cashier. He's asking him to open up the register. As the girl that's offering the side, she drops the bottle and it crashes, breaking on the ground, leaving a surprised man to turn, spin, and shoot. And we see it pierce her. It pierces the window behind her, and she falls to the ground as the gun smokes in the hand of this unsuspecting individual that was reaching out in a desperate moment. And that leaves the creepy guy, the man that we now know is Bruce Banner, just so furious, pissed off, frustrated, and smash! The bullet hits him right in the forehead, leaving him in a pool of blood on the floor. And that's not the end of it. Because of this tense situation, because of everything that's gone wrong, he just shoots the cashier, takes the entire cash register, and runs for the car. And that's where we pick up in the actual scene, the crime scene for this. Sandra Ann Brockhurst, the 12-year-old child that was shot, and Josh Alfaro, the cash register, and then, of course, the John Doe, and they're all currently sitting in the morgue. There's blurry security footage, an eyewitness report from the mother, but the real thing is that they're not necessarily going to make it anywhere, even with the casings from the gun. It's just, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be pushed somewhere, and it's not necessarily here, and that's going to slow everything down, which seems to be a relatively common occurrence. But as we leave the reporter and the crime scene, we zoom in on what appears to be the police station, the morgue, the bodies, the left arm slowly turning green, and then now it's powerful, it's bigger, it's going to be something that we've been anticipating, and then it's gone. We're over at this abandoned looking house with motorcycles outside, and it looks like the dogs of hell are interrogating this person that committed this crime. He's trying to pay them back. In desperation, he took out a loan from this biker gang, and then he's just only accommodating the interest. $200 out of the cash register that he took, that's going back to him as he's continuing to, he's in the debt of the dogs of hell for quite some time, and it looks like he's at the mercy of these individuals. While Tommy is just a desperate individual, this gang knows how to push him, how to press him, and Joe just pushes all the right buttons when it comes to this. And that just brings us back around to how predatory this situation is for Tommy, a person that was put into a bad situation and that made bad decisions to try and solve the problems. And it just keeps getting worse as a giant thoom lands outside, and that is an indicator that something's about to happen. The lights go out, the generator's been turned off, or actually now that we see it, it's been destroyed, it's smashed into the ground, into a crater, and something tears into the men of the dogs of hell. Pure fiery rage is taking them on, and that leaves anticipation. And that's one of the things that we didn't necessarily expect from the Immortal Hulk. We knew it was going to be darker, we knew it was going to be horror, but the amount of tension that was brought into this book, the fact that we don't actually see the monster that's committing these atrocities, that is a big thing. But that is all solved when two giant green hands reach through, grab Joe, and just start to mangle him. And the scene immediately cuts away, so that way we, through our mind's eye, through our mental imagery, are able to piece together every bone break, every scream, every nightmarish action of the Hulk happens off screen in our minds, and we just know how brutal that beast of a monster can be. And it's great. I love everything about it. Tommy, with waves of fear running through his body, runs, drops his keys. Now they're under the car. Now he doesn't know what he's going to do as he's trying to escape the situation, a situation that has gone eerily quiet. It leaves him there. He's just reaching out into the night, asking, is somebody still there? Anybody? Hello? And that's when he's met by this green menace, this giant hulking being standing outside the building and just looking at him, saying the name Sandra Ann Brockhurst, the name of the girl that was shot inside the gas station. And that's where this tension builds, because not only do you have this giant full-page spread of the Hulk, the next page is another giant full-page spread just looking into the eyes of the monster that is staring down Tommy, this thing that has to be 10, 12 feet tall, hulking, green, and muscle, just ready to unleash on this boy, Tommy, at any point in time. But that's where the discussion gets twisted. It's an intelligent conversation. He's talking about the pistol. You know, how does it feel in your hand? It feels heavy. That's stopping power. When you're ready to unleash that on another being, when you're ready to loose that power, it feels heavy in your hands. That stopping power has got weight to it. As he unloads on the Hulk, just bullets bouncing off his chest, embedding it in his skin, as he just brushes them away. But that just doesn't bother the Hulk. It's in control. It's almost maniacal when it comes to the way that it's conversing with Tommy, telling him exactly what's going on and what he feels. He can smell the lies pouring off of Tommy like it's some sort of bad cologne. And that's where we get more of that tension aspect, that imagination of exactly what's going on. He drops the gun. He starts begging for his life. Tommy doesn't want to die. He's got a little girl. And that's when you see the Hulk reacting to these pleas, this begging for mercy. As things shift, the face of the Hulk transitions, one of kind of disgust to somber resignation to just absolute glee and joy before things go black. And that's when you see the hole in the side of the morgue. You see the results of the house that has been broken down by the Hulk. You see Tommy in traction in the hospital, just broken, every single bone in his body. He'll live, but he'll never walk. He's never going to be the same again. And the one thing that's consistent is that when we talk to the chief and we talk to the reporter, we see that this engine of hell bore down upon the dogs of hell, and it was green and it was menacing, and it sounds a lot like the fucking Hulk. And it's just so cool, treating this monster as some sort of mythological being, like back from the dead, raised from the dead, and then creating this tension, this anticipation that nobody knows when it's going to strike, how it's going to strike, or where it's going to strike. Making it a monster in a monster movie is one of the coolest things that could possibly happen in this book. And that's when we jump over to where the Hulk is. Bruce is standing inside of a hotel room. He's looking into the mirror. He's talking to himself, reciting. He's wondering if he's a bad person. He's like, I'm not a bad person, am I? As he looks into the mirror and he sees the Hulk asking for its opinion. So sometimes you're a good man, sometimes you're a bad man, but sometimes you're both. And that's the case inside the Immortal Hulk, which is easily one of the most refreshing Hulk stories that I've read in quite some time. It's a darker, twisted version of the character. I love the intelligence. I love the fact that it transitions between this kind of gleeful nature, this kind of remorseful repose, as well as jumping into this kind of hurtful motif. I really dig this entire characterization of the Hulk and the relationship between Bruce and the Hulk. It's just so much fun. I want to live in this Hulk area. I just want to experience that the whole time. Joe Bennett does a great job with the pencils and the coloring that comes in here. Paul Mounts does a great job with this because Joe Bennett's pencils and the inks, they don't necessarily feel as lively without the colors if you've seen the black and white previews. But I am just so enamored with the Immortal Hulk #1, and I think that it's a book that everybody that is a Hulk fan or not should read just to see what genre comics or what a comic can do to a character that feels so familiar. So I want to know what you guys think about the Immortal Hulk, so hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.